Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now we are seeing a brand new indicator flash green for Bitcoin, so this will be important to pay attention to. And also, we have just seen nearly $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin move off exchanges. So I'll be covering all of that and so much more later in the video. But first, let's take a quick look at the 12-hour Bitcoin charts. And only within the last few hours, we have just seen another red dot show up in the parabolic stop and reverse indicator. And technically speaking, this is a bearish signal for Bitcoin, but keep in mind, we need to see the price oscillators back this up. And what we're seeing right now in the 12-hour Bitcoin MACD is a very slight downtrend in the immediate short term, but we do not have much momentum at all. And if you're looking at the 12-hour Bitcoin RSI, we are simply trending sideways. And so, as I've been mentioning over the past 2 to 3 days now on the channel, it is more likely for us to see some more sideways price action in the Bitcoin price. And obviously, over the past 2 to 3 days, this sideways price action that I've been talking about in the shorter term has been playing out pretty well, while the majority of the market out there is trying to argue between bullish or bearish, but we're not really either right now in the shorter term, that is. But this sideways price action could possibly come to an end at the next Federal Reserve meeting on Wednesday, because usually around those Fed meetings, we see a bit more volatility, and especially as we are expecting our first rate hike that we've seen over the past few years. And so, like I said, out of all possible days, Wednesday is probably one of the more likely days that we would pick up some more volatility. And just before we get into this important Bitcoin chart right here, let's first just quickly cover the daily time frame, because right now we're still holding above this upward trending line of support, which is currently coming in at around 38,000 approximately. And if you're looking in both the daily Bitcoin RSI and the daily Bitcoin MACD, we're currently seeing them enter into a tightening price range, which basically means we're coiling up for another massive move the moment we either break support or resistance. So I would definitely be paying attention to 38,000 as our first major level of support, and anything below that, if you've been watching my recent Bitcoin update videos, we do have another level of support at around 35,000. And of course, our main level of resistance on the daily time frame is coming in at around 45 to 46,000. And now checking out this brand new Bitcoin chart right here, and this indicator, by the way, is called the market hedge ratio. And how it actually works is it uses the market cap of Bitcoin, the market cap of stable coins, and some moving averages to help determine some bullish signals and bearish signals on the larger time frames. And when you're using this indicator, specifically on the 3-day time frame, it has been very accurate for both bullish signals and bearish signals over the past 2 years. You can simply take a look for yourself. After the March 2020 crash, we saw a massive buy signal in this indicator. And then for the most part, during the middle of 2020, this indicator was flashing green signals during this consolidation range right here. And we also saw the same bullish signals flash right around here during September and early October 2020, just before another massive run to the upside. And then during February 2021, we saw a bearish signal in this indicator, and that turned out to be a pretty decent time to take some profits. And we also saw a few more bearish signals show up in around April and early May 2021, just before the crash that we saw during May. So once again, seeing this bearish signal in this indicator on this time frame turned out to be a great opportunity to take some profits off the table and buy back in when we saw another green signal show up during July 2021, which turned out to be pretty much exactly when the Bitcoin price was bottoming out. And then right at the beginning of September, we saw another bearish signal in this indicator. And then of course, we played out a correction during the month of September. And then we saw a larger bearish signal in this indicator in early November 2021 that was of similar size to the bearish indicator that we saw just before the May crash. But obviously, you can see that right now, this market hedge ratio indicator is flashing a massive bullish signal that we've seen ever since around the second half of January at that bottom. And I want to make it clear that this is not financial advice, but if you're simply taking a look at the last few times where we saw a bullish signal in this indicator on the 3-day time frame, that turned out to be a great buying opportunity, especially if you're holding for the somewhat longer term. And that indicator can also be backed up by what we're seeing in the 3-day Bitcoin price oscillators, specifically the RSI and the MACD. The 3-day Bitcoin RSI is of course trending to the upside as we are forming higher highs and higher lows, and the 3-day Bitcoin MACD is trending to the upside as well. The histogram is sitting in the green, but keep in mind, we are currently not seeing a lot of bullish momentum in the 3-day MACD, which does create a slight difference to this time compared to what we saw, for example, back in July. But this is still definitely something to keep an eye on, because usually the price oscillators, especially on some larger time frames, are very accurate at determining trend reversals in the Bitcoin price. And on top of all of that, right now, the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index is still sitting in extreme fear. In fact, this index has dropped down another level from where we were yesterday. And for any of the beginners out there, the further this index goes into extreme fear, the more likely Bitcoin is approaching some sort of local bottom at the very least. And anytime we're seeing extreme fear in the market, it usually means there's a lot of Bitcoin bears out there compared to Bitcoin bulls. And this can actually be confirmed by the data that we're seeing in the Bitcoin short positions as they have been increasing over the past few days. And in case you are new to this channel, this chart right here shows the Bitcoin short positions at the bottom, and the orange line is the Bitcoin price against the US dollar on the daily time frame. And what is very interesting is we normally see a lot of Bitcoin short positions get open up right as the Bitcoin price is actually bottoming out, because anytime we're seeing major spikes to the upside in the Bitcoin short positions, that is a sign that the Bitcoin bears are getting greedy, which, like I said, means that we're close to some sort of reversal in the market. And then of course the opposite of that is when the Bitcoin short positions are at their record low levels, when the majority in the market is getting greedy for more bullish price action. And then during those time periods right there, they are usually when the Bitcoin price reverses from a bullish trend into a bearish trend. We have seen this multiple times. And if you're looking at where we are in the market right now, we've already seen a lot of bearish price action. And currently the Bitcoin bears are starting to get a little bit more greedy as they are entering into more and more Bitcoin short positions, similar to what we saw in the middle of last year. And if you take a look at the total Bitcoin exchange reserve, it has been declining for quite a while, but specifically only within the last 3 days or so, we saw a massive drop off in the exchange reserve, which basically means we saw a massive amount of Bitcoin leave exchanges. And if you actually look at these numbers, it works out to be around 37,000 Bitcoin that has left exchanges over the past 3 days approximately. And at the current Bitcoin price, that equates to over 1.4 billion US dollars. So nearly $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin has left exchanges over the past 3 days approximately. But if you're zooming further out on this chart, over the past couple years, we have seen a lot of Bitcoin leave exchanges. And in fact, the amount of Bitcoin that was sitting on exchanges around 2 years ago was close to 3 million Bitcoin. But right now, there's only around 2.3 million Bitcoin sitting on exchanges, which means over the past couple years, there's been around 700,000 Bitcoin leave exchanges. But for the majority of that time, over the past 2 years, nothing much has happened until only just recently, where we have seen an increase in the amount of Bitcoin leaving exchanges. And so obviously, if there was around 700,000 Bitcoin leave exchanges within 2 years, and if there's only around 2.3 million Bitcoin left on exchanges right now, and especially as the amount of Bitcoin leaving exchanges recently has been accelerating, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that the available Bitcoin sitting on exchanges is literally running out. And for the complete beginners out there, anytime you restrict the supply of something, usually the price of that thing becomes more and more valuable as time goes on. Now, this is talking about the longer term. And obviously, supply and demand economics is not unique to Bitcoin, because if you restrict the supply of just about anything, for as long as supply is falling faster than demand, that is simply a bullish signal for the longer term. And if you want to get real-time updates on the crypto markets just like this, for example, make sure you follow me over on my Twitter, and the link to my Twitter is in the description down below and also in the pinned comment right next to my new Instagram. But anyway, if you found this video useful or simply enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. And while the Bitcoin price has been trending sideways over the past 2 months, this has been more of a boring time period in the market for those of you that have not watched these videos right here, because these 2 videos right here show you how to make more money in crypto, whether or not prices are going up or down. And even during a sideways price range, these videos can help you make more money in crypto. But anyway, that is it for this update. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.